Hey guys, welcome back to the NYC Uncensored podcast. Today I'm Advika and I have with me
Satini.
And today we'll talk about teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Now Satini, are you a teenager?
No.
Oh, would you like to reveal your age to everyone?
No.
Yep, but it's okay guys, she looks like a teenager.
Stop it.
And well, I am a teenager and what I've realized is that there's like a lot of challenges in your teenage years because there's so many new things you discover as a teenager, and there's also just this like, well, you've got puberty obviously, and then there are so many big like social changes in your life as well.
Yep.
You go to high school, you meet new people, you like start exploring your hobbies and stuff. But I think one thing that comes with that is also some pressures and some expectations. And I feel like the most damaging expectations that I've experienced was this pressure to figure out my sexuality. First of all, because everyone thinks that as a teenager, this is the time to explore, experiment, but then also make the decision.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is really stressful, at least to me. And another thing was this experience with relationships and the intimacy, to sugarcoat it, the intimacy that comes with it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of young adult movies, coming of age movies, they're all about like sexuality and exploring yourself and all these new experiences. But I feel like it somehow ends up putting this really bad pressure that people have to seek this out.
Yeah.
Which I think is the reason we're making this podcast today, so we can dive into where these expectations come from and why they're not the best expectations to put on yourself as a teenager.
Well said. Yeah. So I guess sorry. I guess one of the first points we're going to talk about is the pressure about sexual orientation. So as you were saying, like being a teen, you know, you're expected to already know, like, who are you into, you know, girls, boys, who, whatever. And especially, I think in the society, I think also it depends, like, how you were brought up, like,
for
what,
sure.
like, beliefs were raised around you, or those that grew up around you. Like, for most people, like, straight is the only option, or they think, oh, like, you know, that's the normal. But then you might be someone who's closeted or something, like.
Exactly.
And then also how do you come out to people and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's very challenging, especially like if you're at school still, like there's so many you could get bullied for that stuff.
Yeah, there's always people that judge, and that's really scary.
Yeah, so I think it's very difficult, but I think it's good that we're talking about it today, because I think a lot of young people, and also like just part of the podcast, you know, we want to be able to talk about these things that others don't really talk about, or you might not have someone to even express, like, oh, this is how I'm feeling about my sexuality, or just your identity in general. But
yeah, as I definitely feel the thing you said about just assuming that straight is the only option.
Yeah.
Because as someone who was like in India for like 11 years, and I went to like a government school, so it wasn't like a progressive school or anything either. It was very much like there was no other like thing. Being straight is the only thing you could possibly be. And if you like if a guy was feminine or a girl was masculine, they would literally get called like names every day.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a lot of judgment that people have to deal with when they're trying to figure out their sexual orientation. And it's important that in the face of that judgment, you don't also weigh yourself down by just putting yourself under the pressure that you have to commit to an orientation per se. Because I feel like nowadays as well, like with social media, labeling is like something that's become a norm. And I personally, this is a personal opinion, I feel like it almost reduces people down in a way, because while it's okay to have labels, completely, I understand if you go by a certain label, like if you're bisexual, if you're pansexual or whatever, but you shouldn't have to go by a label for people to recognize you for who you are, is what I think.
Yeah.
As in, it shouldn't, you are not someone who can be reduced to certain terms. You're much more than that. And I feel like those labels are not the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, it's completely fine for you to not have a label.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to put labels on everything. And you're, as humans, it's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's only natural for us to develop, and like you know, especially as a teenager, hormones and all that stuff. You're experimenting, finding out who you are, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely like everything that you said makes so much sense.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, if you ever feel that pressure on yourself from your friends or your relatives or society in general, just remember that if you can, of course, you'll discover your preferences during teenage years. It's only like natural because you're going to have all these new experiences, all these new hormones that you're figuring out. But you don't have to finish your teenage years with a conclusive like label, I guess. And you can still take your time for as long as you need. Honestly, even your lifetime. Like, it's go at your own pace. It's your life. Choose whatever label you want or do not want. And remember that at the end of the day, you don't owe anyone a label on your sexual orientation, as long as you know what you are and you know who you are attracted to and such. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yes. I love it.
Yay. So I guess that takes us into our second point about intimacy and the pressures that surround that as a teenager. Because I know that in every like coming of age film I saw, especially like before I was a teenager, there was always this ideal standard that you would hit all these milestones per se, quote unquote, that where you'll have your first kiss, you'll have your first partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And I feel like it was like really like, it's like you'd be like a starry-eyed child watching that. And you're like getting pulled into that teenage dream. But then when you become a teenager, you realize it's not the same for you. And I feel like that can really bog people down and make them feel like they're the problem. And the lack of intimate experiences and sexual encounters in their life is because of them, and that they're not good enough. Which I feel like is a really, really, really big problem.
I think also when it comes to these experiences and stuff, it's very important for you to realize that you are your own individual, right? So just because other people are having these experiences doesn't make you any less.
Exactly.
And everyone will know when it's time for them.
Exactly.
Like you could go like 40, 50 years being single.
Exactly.
And that's just how it's going to be. Other people, they'll be in a relationship with the high school sweetheart, all that stuff. But everyone is different, and it's easy to assume that everyone has had these experiences. But like I said, everyone's different. Like you might think, all your friends or something are doing this and that. But, sometimes these people, they be talking.
That is true.
But it's not true, and they're probably experiencing the same things like, I'm just lying because I know that everyone else is doing this. But trust me, most of the time, people aren't even engaging in that stuff. And that's completely okay. You don't have to. And if you ever do, as long as it's consensual and
safe.
Safe, there's boundaries, and it's something that you actually want to do, and not just because
you think you have to do it.
Like just for as they say, just for the plot or whatever.
Yeah, like, guys, don't do it for the plot.
Yeah, you don't have to do these things.
I mean, you could be the kind of person who does, but again, really just think about if it's really like helping you mentally, because sometimes these things you do these things under the pressure that you have to do them, and in the long term, that's going to come back and bite you in the butt, because you're going to have all these mental issues that are going to happen because of it. So what I would say, like, especially as a teenager, And especially when like these are new things you're experiencing, just just consider your own boundaries, consider your own headspace as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's key to like intimacy and stuff like that.
Definitely. Because even on TikTok, like there's this creator, she's like 40, she's 40 something, but she just, her content revolves around like, her self-development and self-love and stuff. And only recently at this age, I think she's 43, like she just had her first relationship.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then she talks about how, people, and this is really important, like some people, oh, what's the thing, like they base off your worth of love by the amount of partners you have.
Oof,
but
no.
you don't need that.
No.
And that's what she talks about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how she randomly came on my For You, but she's a really good person to listen to if you ever come across her. Like, and it just shows that, you know, no matter what age you're at, like that's her first experience having a boyfriend at 40 something. You don't have to have a partner. Like, yeah, you don't have to have these experiences. It's one thing to want it, and you know that's perfectly normal, because we are in that type of world where, you know, everyone's like flaunting their relationships and all that stuff. But
the self launches,
yeah. But yeah, like we were saying, it's a lot easier said than done. Because maybe that's something that you're really longing to have. But I think as long as, like we said, it's consensual, or you're doing it because you actually like the other person and not just because, I just want to throw myself into a relationship just because.
Like, don't be swayed by the love you have for the idea of love.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank
that's
you.
a good one.
Thank you.
Very, very true.
Just remember, you should like the person first, not the idea of being with them, because that's more important than anything else. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that's
and the reality is, even if you like someone, some things just they just don't work out. So, like most of the time we're gonna meet a lot of people, and then the idea of them is something that we love, but to be in an actual relationship with them is completely different. Or like to engage in certain activities, it's different. It's different for everyone, and it's completely fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just remember to like set your own pace. And there's no, like, obviously it feels like there's a stereotypical timeline to these kind of things.
Yes.
But it's important to just remove yourself from that a little bit and realize that at the end of the day, you're not alone. And there's millions of other teenagers around the world going through the same like thought processes you're having and the same fears you're having. And they probably have some of the same experiences as well, or the lack of, if you think that way. So just remember, you don't need to compare yourself to the movies, because you're the real life version of it.
Yeah,
and reality is better than fiction, guys.
And also, just quickly, because I know that like certain people might feel influenced and pressured by their friends and just society and all that stuff, but I know for people, they have different reasons as to why like they won't go have intercourse with someone and all that stuff, and that is fine. I'm telling you, you
for sure,
you should live by your values and morals, or like you know, a lot of people have religious beliefs that they're like, you know, I want to wait until marriage and all that stuff. And I hope that you never feel that you have to throw away those beliefs and all that stuff just because
someone else disagrees with you.
Yeah, exactly. Or just the thought of like feeling left out and stuff. But as you were saying, like there's so many people out there that haven't even done this stuff because of different reasons like you, and hey, they're still here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
and at the end of the day, it's about what's most fulfilling to you in your life.
Exactly.
And if it's more fulfilling for you to like wait until marriage or any other like morals or values you have, then stick with that, because you deserve the life that you want to live, not the life you think other people are living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Okay, now I feel like you're just gassing me up for no
No,
reason.
no, it's good. 'Cause
Thank you.
I love it.
I guess before we end, do you have any stories or anything you want to add from your personal experiences?
Not really. I mean, personally, I've never really dealt with this, but I know that a lot of our clients and stuff that come here do. And I think, and as a worker or like any kind of worker, you would put your own values and morals and all that stuff aside. So even if I was to, in my personal life, disagree with however this person identifies or something, you have to realize that it really doesn't affect you, like from an outside perspective. Like, just because someone identifies this way or something, like, it's not gonna affect my sleep.
Exactly.
Like, they're not in my way, they're not causing harm to me. So I mean, obviously there could be listeners that are like, you know, very passionate about that stuff, like very against it or whatever, but I think as long as
they're not harming you
yeah,
or doing anything affecting your life, then just let people be.
And then hopefully, like, those that are, you know, trying to figure themselves out and stuff, that hopefully that there is some sort of like supportive group behind them, which because I can't even imagine how difficult it could be, especially if you're at a young age, and some people come from more conservative backgrounds and all that stuff. So I couldn't even begin to imagine. But what about yourself? Do you have anything to share?
Same, I guess. I mean, I was really lucky with like sexuality and stuff because my parents never cared about anything.
Nice.
So I could tell them anything and they'll be like, okay, sure. I think they would be more concerned if I said I don't want to study than if I said I was like pansexual.
Really?
Well, they would just be like, what do you mean you don't want to study? Is eartime not important to you? But like overall, I was really blessed in that sense. But I feel like it's more with the like school environments that it really comes into play.
Yeah, definitely.
And as well as like the pressure to be like sexually intimate and stuff like that as well. Because like you see people around you saying they're engaging in it or really engaging in it, and it can feel like you're less deserving of like love and stuff like that, just because you're not having the same experience as those people are. But I think it's just, again, I think it's a maturity thing as well. You just need to mature sometimes and to really look past it, because as soon as I was like in the right headspace, I realized like it's literally not that deep. I can just go at my own pace, and I don't have to be in a relationship I don't have to be single for what was I saying? I don't have to not be single for more than 6 months or something like that, you know? Because you know how people are like, oh, like if you're not in a relationship, you need to be looking for one and stuff like that. Yeah. And I feel like especially in high school, because everyone wants to be like that stereotypical, live that stereotypical teenage experience. It's really normal to just randomly start dating people. And like sometimes there were like I've seen people break up and they start dating their best friends. Yeah. And honestly, like that just shocked me because I was like, what happened to like the girl code, the bro code? Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to do that. Yeah. And you can just, chill, be single, and just work on yourself and whatever makes you happy, honestly. Yeah.
No, for sure. And also just like, hopefully you'll, like you said, when you mature, you'll have like more realistic expectations, and then you realize that even though, like, let's say 60% of these people are in relationships, how many of it is healthy?
Exactly.
So there's all these different kind of things. So
and also your life doesn't end when you turn 20.
Oh, literally.
You literally have so much of your life.
They say that your life really starts when you hit 30 and stuff.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of changes. Like no matter what age you are, life is
and you'll find what you're looking for one day, guys. It's out there for you in the world. Don't worry.
Yes.
I guess at the end of the day, just try not to. It's easy to say, but try not to get too affected by that pressure of figuring out your sexuality or having those experiences during your teenage years. And just remember, guys, everything's a social construct. None of it actually means anything. Damn. Live life on your own terms.
Yes, very nice. Yeah. I love that. Perfect way to end it.
Oh, yay. Okay, then.
Yeah, so if any of you want to share any of your experiences regarding, you know, your sexual orientation, identity, figuring yourself out, intimacy as a teenager or whatever, we'd definitely love to hear it. Because I think the more stories that come out, especially if you're someone that hasn't experienced these and you felt pressured, it'll definitely help a lot of others out there.
Yes.
But yeah, anyways, guys, we'll see you in another episode. Take care and goodbye. Bye.